What if one tree, just one, had the power to replace your entire medicine cabinet? Not some synthetic breakthrough cooked up in a lab. Not a pill or powder with a shelf life. But a tree that grows in poor soil, drinks sunlight, and quietly produces more vitamins than an entire aisle at the pharmacy. Ancient warriors drank its juice before battle to numb pain and sharpen focus. Egyptian pharaohs demanded its oil in their tombs, hoping it would preserve their youth in the afterlife. For over 4,000 years, it fed entire civilizations through famine, disease, and war. And yet, you've probably never heard of it. That's not an accident. This tree didn't vanish by chance. It was buried, because it posed a direct threat to one of the most profitable industries in modern history. One tree, complete nutrition, no patents. No prescriptions. No profits for them. So why haven't you seen it in your grocery store? Why isn't it growing in every backyard? Because if you did, you might stop buying multivitamins altogether. It's not a vegetable. It's not a supplement. It's a biological anomaly that breaks every rule of modern nutrition. The name is Moringa oleifera. But most people just call it the miracle tree. Because what it does should be impossible. While other plants give you one piece of the puzzle, spinach for iron, oranges for vitamin C, carrots for beta-carotene, Moringa gives you the entire picture. In one handful of leaves, you get all 9 essential amino acids, a complete protein profile, something you're told only comes from meat. More vitamin C than oranges. More iron than spinach. More calcium than milk. More beta-carotene than carrots. And it doesn't stop there. Moringa grows up to 18 feet tall in just 6 months. It thrives in drought, survives in poor soil, and needs no fertilizer, no pesticides, no chemicals. You plant it once, and it feeds you for decades. It's not just food. It's not just medicine. It's independence. And that's precisely the problem. Because while Big Pharma built an empire around the idea that health must be purchased one pill at a time, Moringa quietly breaks that model in half. It doesn't need a factory. It doesn't need a barcode. It just needs a little dirt, a little water, and a seed that refuses to quit. But as you'll see next, this tree wasn't just powerful. It was revered. The ancient world knew exactly what they had, and they protected it like gold. Before science gave it a Latin name, before the pharmaceutical giants learned to ignore it, this tree was sacred. In ancient India, Ayurvedic texts called it shigru and described its use for over 300 ailments. Not as a trendy superfood, but as medicine. Real medicine. Time-tested. Revered. By 2000 BC, Moringa had crossed deserts and borders, landing in ancient Egypt, where it was treated like liquid gold. Pharaohs demanded its oil, extracted from its seeds, to protect their skin from the brutal desert sun. It wasn't a beauty hack. It was ritual. Jars of Moringa oil were sealed in tombs beside royalty, meant to preserve their youth in the afterlife. And here's the part that historians can't ignore: those jars were real. They've been uncovered in tombs. The oil still inside. Untouched by time. That's not legend. That's legacy. The Greeks imported it to fight fatigue. The Romans used it to settle digestion and boost vitality. This wasn't peasant food. This was high cuisine, a delicacy, a remedy, and a weapon all in one. But nowhere was its power more respected than in the Mauryan Empire of ancient India. Before battle, Malayan warriors would drink a Moringa extract, believing it would numb pain, sustain energy, and sharpen clarity. It sounds like myth, until you realize they were right. Modern science confirms it now. Moringa is loaded with anti-inflammatory compounds, antioxidants, and complete nutrition. It wasn't superstition, it was biochemistry ahead of its time. This tree didn't just heal. It protected, it sustained, and in times of war and famine, it saved lives. But despite all that power, it disappeared from Western plates. The question is why? And the answer starts in a university lab in Wisconsin, in the year 1913, when two scientists made a discovery that would change everything. Here's where the story stops being legend, and starts getting uncomfortable. In 2017, researchers from the Bangladesh Agricultural University ran a full nutritional breakdown of Moringa leaves. What they found doesn't just break expectations, it obliterates them. Let's start with protein. Fresh Moringa leaves contain up to 29% protein by dry weight. That's 10 times more than spinach, which barely scrapes by at 2.9%. A plant that competes with meat for protein. That alone should have changed the food industry. But it doesn't stop there. Vitamin C. Moringa delivers between 188 to 279 milligrams per 100 g. Oranges, our go-to source, only offer 53 milligrams. That's 5 times more vitamin C in the leaves of a tree you've never been told about. Iron. Moringa packs 4 milligrams per 100 g. Spinach. Just 2.7 milligrams. And that's the vegetable the world has been hyping for a century. Beta-carotene, the precursor to vitamin A. Moringa triples the amount you'd get from carrots. Calcium. Moringa's leaf density crushes milk. And while the West argues about combining legumes and grains to build a complete protein, Moringa skips the drama. It naturally contains all 9 essential amino acids. That's right, complete protein, no fancy diet plans needed. This is not a vegetable. This is a biological warehouse of healing, compressed into leaves, growing freely in poor soil, under the sun. A tree that doesn't just nourish, it challenges the entire foundation of modern nutrition marketing. Because if Moringa is real, and these numbers are accurate, then everything we've been told about deficiencies, supplements, and daily pills starts to fall apart. And Big Pharma knew it. They didn't ignore these numbers. They buried them. Because just one Moringa tree could replace a lifetime customer. But to understand how they pulled that off, you need to go back to a single year that changed everything, 1913, the birth of vitamins, and the death of nutritional freedom. It started in a lab. Quiet. Unremarkable. Just 2 biochemists at the University of Wisconsin, working with butter and cod liver oil. Their names were Elmer McCullum and Marguerite Davis, and in 1913, they isolated something the world had never seen before, a nutrient so small it couldn't be seen with the eye, yet powerful enough to prevent disease. They called it vitamin A. It should have been a footnote. A confirmation that traditional foods, like Moringa, were powerful because they were packed with nature's own chemistry. Instead, it lit the fuse. Within a decade, the discovery of vitamins B, C, D, and E followed. But more importantly, so did the money. Suddenly, you didn't need a tree. You didn't need whole foods, or ancient medicine, or tradition. You just needed a pill. In 1920, pharmaceutical company Parke-Davis released Metagen, a capsule of concentrated vitamins A, B, and C. It wasn't food. It was a product. Patented. Packaged. Sold to doctors. And it worked. By 1927, Merck and Bayer launched the first synthetic vitamin D. By 1933, Roche developed a lab-based method to mass-produce vitamin C. Pfizer joined the race. The price of synthetic vitamins dropped. Supply chains grew. And a new idea was born: health doesn't grow, it gets manufactured. The companies weren't just creating vitamins. They were creating control. Because synthetic vitamins could be standardized, branded, patented. They could be locked behind corporate walls and sold at monopoly prices. You can't patent a tree. But you can patent a process. And while Merck and Pfizer poured millions into chemistry labs and university research, Moringa was pushed out of the picture. It wasn't that the science behind Moringa was wrong. It's that the economics didn't work. One tree, one household, one generation of self-reliant health. That's You can't stack it in a warehouse for a year. You can't ship it across oceans and expect it to hold. It's fresh, it's alive, and it doesn't wait for logistics. Pharmaceutical companies needed something shelf-stable, warehouse-friendly, and chemically tame. Moringa refused to play that game. Reason number 3, it tastes bitter. Unlike sugary gummies and fruit-flavored pills, fresh Moringa leaves aren't built for modern palates. They taste earthy, even harsh, unless prepared properly, like matcha meets spinach, with a bite. To mass-market Moringa, you'd need time, tradition, and knowledge. Pills are easier. Candy-coated wellness sells faster. Reason number 4, it's not standardized. Every Moringa tree is different. The soil, the season, the preparation method, all affect its nutritional profile. But the pharmaceutical model demands uniformity. One pill equals 500 milligrams. Every time. Predictable. Scalable. Moringa is wild. It doesn't conform. And in an industry that thrives on control, that's unforgivable. But the final nail in the coffin? Reason number 5, there's no recurring revenue. A bottle of vitamins runs out. You take one today. You buy another next week. It's a cycle, predictable and profitable. Moringa. You plant one tree, and it feeds your family for decades. No repurchases. No prescriptions. No dependency. It's a one-time act of freedom in a system that survives on repeat transactions. So it wasn't that Moringa failed. It was that it couldn't be monetized. And when something can't be monetized in a profit-first system, it's not studied. It's not promoted. It's erased. But the most dangerous part? They didn't stop at hiding Moringa. They created the illusion that you needed them instead. And that illusion worked. In the early 1900s, something subtle, but devastating, began to happen. As food production scaled up, convenience replaced quality. Grains were polished. Flour was bleached. Rice was stripped. Canned goods were boiled and sealed. The result? Nutrition vanished. Vitamins that once came naturally from whole foods were lost in the name of shelf life and profit margins. And suddenly, people started getting sick. But instead of turning back to ancient plants like Moringa, nature's original multivitamin, industry saw an opportunity. The pharmaceutical world didn't restore what was lost. They repackaged it. They took the very nutrients that industrial food had erased, and sold them back. They didn't fix the food. They fortified it. They didn't revive Moringa. They marketed capsules. They didn't teach us to grow nutrition. They taught us to buy it. And we believed them. Breakfast cereals began boasting about being fortified with 12 essential vitamins. Milk was enriched. Bread was enhanced. The solution to a manufactured deficiency was a manufactured product. And Moringa? It was too efficient. Too complete. Too natural. One tree. One household. No deficiency. No customer. That's not a repeatable transaction. That's self-sufficiency. So while the pharmaceutical giants lobbied governments, funded university research, and embedded themselves in every layer of public health policy, Moringa was quietly pushed to the margins. Dismissed as folklore. Labeled non-essential. Hidden behind a wall of synthetic replacements. But here and oppose, the truth. We were never supposed to need pills as a baseline. We were supposed to have plants. We were supposed to have this plant. Moringa wasn't forgotten. It was financially inconvenient. And by the time most of the world woke up, the system was already in place, and Moringa was already out of sight. But not gone. Because what comes next is the part they can't stop. The miracle tree didn't vanish. It wasn't wiped out in some global disaster. It's not extinct, or endangered, or mythical. It's still here. Right now, Moringa oleifera grows wild across the tropics and subtropics. In India, it's still cultivated. In parts of Africa and South America, small farmers grow it quietly, without the blessing, or interference, of pharmaceutical giants. The seeds are available. The knowledge is returning. And yet, you still won't find it in your local grocery store. There are no billion-dollar ad campaigns. No celebrity endorsements. Because there's still no recurring revenue in a tree that feeds you for free. But here's the part that changes everything. You don't need permission to grow it. You can plant Moringa in a pot on your balcony. It grows in poor soil. It survives drought. You can harvest the leaves, dry them, grind them into powder, and add them to soups, smoothies, or tea. You don't need a prescription. You don't need a pharmacy. You need a seed and sunlight. The taste is earthy, somewhere between matcha and spinach. But the nutrition? Unmatched. And this isn't about rejecting medicine. Synthetic vitamins have saved lives in emergencies, in places where real food is scarce. But they were never supposed to replace food. They were supposed to be the backup. Moringa was supposed to be the foundation. Instead, we built a system that profits off of deficiency. And when a plant like Moringa threatens that system, it's ignored. But not because it doesn't work. Because it works too well. And if that knowledge spreads, if more people remember what ancient warriors and royal healers already knew, then the model begins to crack. Because there's nothing more dangerous to a profit-driven system than a self-sustaining human being. This isn't just a story about a tree. It's a story about ownership, of health, of history, of truth. For over 4,000 years, Moringa stood as a symbol of survival. It fed families, healed wounds, fueled warriors, and preserved royalty. Not because it was trendy, or marketed, or profitable. But because it worked. Then came the pills. The patents. The promise that nutrition could be bottled, branded, and sold back to us, at a cost. And while we swallowed the sales pitch, the tree kept growing. Quietly. Patiently. Waiting. Planting Moringa today isn't just gardening. It's a rejection of a system that profits from your need. It's a return to what your ancestors already knew. That health isn't something you buy, it's something you grow. No CEO can own it. No lab can improve it. No pharmacy can replace it. And every time a Moringa seed touches soil, another person steps outside the loop. No prescription. No subscription. No strings. They tried to bury it, but they forgot one thing. You can't patent the sun. You can't trademark the earth. And you can't stop a tree from growing. The miracle was never lost. It was just waiting to be remembered. If this opened something in you, share it. Like it. Comment. Spread it. Because some truths aren't supposed to stay hidden. And some rebellions start with a single seed.